theft case has now entered a significant new phase. Why we're saying that is because for the first time since the controversy erupted, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh has officially spoken on the issue. RSS General Secretary Dattatreya Hosabale has described the alleged theft as deeply distressing, saying that the faith of crores of Ram devotees has been hurt. He has also made it quite clear that anyone found guilty must face the strictest punishment, whilst calling upon the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust to address the administrative shortcomings and restore public confidence at the earliest. Let's quickly listen in first to what the RSS General Secretary had to say.
अयोध्या में श्री रामलला मंदिर में रखे हुए दान पात्रों में जमा राशि की चोरी की दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण घटना से समूचे समाज और राम भक्तों को भावना एवं श्रद्धा को आघात पहुंचा है तथा इस घटना से हम सभी आहत हैं। श्री राम जन्मभूमि तीर्थ क्षेत्र न्यास के आग्रहपूर्वक निवेदन पर उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार ने विशेष जांच दल का गठन कर उसकी अनुशंसा पर कानूनी प्रक्रिया प्रारंभ की है। जांच में जो भी दोषी पाए जाएंगे उन्हें कठोर दंड हो यह सुनिश्चित करना आवश्यक है।
Now, the statement is significant on different levels because the RSS has been closely associated with the Ram Janmabhoomi movement right from the very beginning. And whilst backing the ongoing Special Investigation Team probe, the Sangh has also underlined the need for transparency, for accountability and corrective measures within the temple administration. So, does this statement draw a clear line on accountability? Will it help restore devotees' confidence? And what does it mean for the trust, the investigation and the larger discourse surrounding one of the country's most revered religious institutions? With me on the broadcast is journalist and editor, Goa Chronicle, Savio. Long time no see, Savio. Many thanks for taking out the time. First and foremost, you see, the RSS has finally spoken after days of silence. This is one particular donation theft case that's got the entire country, talking about it. What makes this statement politically and institutionally significant? Is this to be looked at from the lens of damage control, or is it a clear message to the Ram Temple Trust? How do you view this?
Well, thank you, Kabir. It's always a pleasure to be on your show. And I'm very glad and I'm very happy that the Mr. Hosbole has come out and made a statement as the RSS, because it's very essential to bring out what the sentiments of thousands and millions of followers, not only in India, but around the world, and the devotion that a lot of our Hindu followers have towards the Ram Mandir, and the aspirations they have on the kind of running of the Ram Mandir. All that was necessary for somebody like Mr. Hosbole to come out and shared the views of the RSS, which is also a view of the Sangh, which is a large body of nationalists that work in the interest of the country. Now, why is it important and why I concur with what Mr. Hosbole is saying is because, you see, there is a lot of emotion, there's a lot of feelings attached to the Ram Mandir. So when something questionable happens, like the donation scam that is under investigation at this point of time, it leaves a lot of people wondering as to what went wrong. It is not a question of the faith. The faith people will continue to have, people will continue to throng to the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. But what they are surprised about, what they are hurt about, what they are really disappointed about is that a religious structure of this magnitude and this respectability, the trust was not able to live up to that expectations that was necessary on the kind of devotion a lot of people have and continue to have for Ram Mandir. And that's where I think it was necessary for Hosbole to come out and make this statement. He's also making the statement to showcase a very important aspect, that no matter who the persons or the people are involved in the scam that happened, justice has to be delivered simply because there are millions of people who are devotees and who continue to have that devotion to the Ram Mandir. Now you look at it from a very, very simple man's point of view. A simple man comes to the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya out of devotion and out of love for his religious belief and what he's been taught for decades and centuries. And then after many years, you have the Ram Mandir built. There's a fight that we go through to ensure that Ram Mandir is built. There's a legal battle that we go through. And we're hoping that Ayodhya, the Ram Mandir, turns into a massive religious pilgrimage talk that the world can pay attention to, just
No,
like you would
I don't disagree. I absolutely don't disagree. There are some points, from what the opposition has been saying and how RSS has now come out demanding the strictest of punishments and this balance between accountability and protecting the larger, narrative. First and foremost, I want to draw your attention, Xavier, to this video, because you see, RSS does not necessarily associate itself with a lot of symbols. But now you've got the General Secretary and you've got the Om symbol right behind, I'm just here thinking, are we reading too much into this right now? Because this doesn't normally happen.
So the RSS, in all fairness, a large section of the RSS leaders and representatives are Sanatan Dharmis. They are Hindus, right? So I don't find it questionable or untowards or even, looking at it differently, because an Om is an Om. I, as an Indian Christian, also revere the Om. So I'm okay with the fact that the Om is there when he's speaking about it, because he's necessary. See, a large section of the Hindu population that are devotees are really having questions in their mind. And it is not a question of religious faith, it's a question of institutional administration. When institutional administration goes haywire, people are not questioning the faith, they're questioning the people who are responsible for the mismanagement of the institution, right? Now, let me take you back to some years back. There was a time when the Vatican Bank came under severe questions on the kind of money that was being routed into the Vatican Bank and the kind of money that was going out of the Vatican Bank. There were questions of money laundering, and this happened sometime around the 1970s, 1980s, when there was a huge scandal at that point of time. Does that mean that the people of the Christian faith do not have faith in the Vatican anymore because the Vatican Bank's administrators were questionable? The answer is no. So what the people are saying is very simple. It is not a question of faith that Ram Mandir is, there was a scam that happened in the Ram Mandir donation. It's the question of the mismanagement of the administration that was responsible in looking after it. So therefore, it is imperative on the devotees and people who are devotional to in Ram Mandir, efforts to ensure that it's run in an organized, well manner, so that such sort of scams don't come to light.
Yep, the General Secretary has hailed the SIT investigation as well. The General Secretary has hailed the Special Investigation Team's probe.
Yes.
But, touching a little bit upon what the opposition here is saying as well, just wanted to understand how you're looking at those developments. The opposition says the RSS only spoke after there was public outrage, after public outrage became impossible to ignore, and this delay has weakened the moral authority of this statement that's now come out. So, what they're essentially trying to understand is, was the Sangh waiting for the investigation to gather momentum before they finally make their call? Because the timing is something that everybody is now interested about.
Kabir, I don't really particularly consider what the opposition says as important, because they are always looking at a reason to blame either the BJP or the RSS. I can give you many examples in history, recent history around the world where people reacted to situations religiously differently, right? But I'm most concerned about one thing. The Ram Mandir is an emotive issue. The Ram Mandir is a devotional issue. The Ram Mandir is a devotional concern, not only for the Hindus, but every single Bharatiya around the world, right? Now, the question is, can we ensure that the Ram Mandir has the kind of administrative integrity that is required and expected out of the devotional value? You see, at the end of the day, the energy inside the Ram Mandir is the devotion of the people.
Yeah.
So when something like this happens, you will definitely have people who have not lost faith, but they lose faith in the institution. Right? When, for example, the Catholic Church was riddled with issues of child sexual abuse, the institution was getting questioned, not the faith. Right? So today also, here the institution and people who are responsible for running that institution are being questioned, and rightfully so, Kabir. Because there is a
But that
scam,
line
there
does
is-
get blurred. I mean, I'm just being the devil's advocate here. That line does get blurred. The institution that's running, and of course the faith that goes along with it. There's no, of course, disagreement on the fact that the faith does not go anywhere. People will continue with their faith. Faith is the most strongest fundamental, foundational principle of, the devotion at the Ram temple. But again, just to rephrase my question here, because, UP elections are right around the corner, and I must understand this from a political lens as well. Politically, does this episode become ammunition for the opposition? That's one point to look at. This RSS statement that's now come out, does it help the RSS BJP combine to reclaim the narrative, not by defending it, but by openly acknowledging the issue? And look at what Dattatreya Hosabulaya has said. He said that, I urge that there be strictest punishment, because you need to set an example now.
Correct. So opposition obviously is going to look at every opportunity they get.
And whilst I say it, my apologies for interjecting. I think, was it Digvijay Singh who's called on an entire yatra right up to Ayodhya in the run-up to the assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh? He's going to carry out a padayatra to Ayodhya, mounting on this issue.
Well, Kabir, the opposition has every right to do what it thinks it is right to do. But let's keep the politics aside. The politics will always be played, but this is not a political issue. This is a religiously emotive, sensitive, and devotional issue. So I'm most concerned, and the people in government and the RSS is most concerned of the devotional connect that the people have for the Ram Mandir, and the questionable act of people responsible for looking after that institution, and which this scam has come out. So that's the hurt feeling that millions and millions of devotees have, and that's the concern. The politics will always be played around it. I'm not expecting any less politics. But if you were to ask the guy on the ground, whether in Uttar Pradesh or whether in Goa or whether in any other part of India, he's not going to care so much about the politics. He's going to try and understand that why would an institutional scam or an institutional corruption or a mismanagement happen in something that is so devotional.
Something so sacred, something that's so sacred as an institution. And I agree with you that this is not about just those missing donations. Of course, it's very sensational. People love to talk about it and, the donations and the theft and the amount of money and the number crunching. But it's actually about protecting the credibility of one of the most sacred institutions in the country. So we're talking about transparency, accountability, something that the General Secretary of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh has already thrown light upon. And justice will now be the real test for the trust and for the investigation, and if good sense prevails for everyone that is involved here as well. Savio, many thanks for taking out the time and helping us put this latest statement by the RSS as it breaks its silence on the Ram temple donation. Ram, many thanks for taking out the time. All right, then, we're shifting our focus here. The final segment on In Your Interest. This is a particular case from Nagpur, and sometimes when we're on the road, it takes just one horn. Not a major collision, not a fatal accident, not even a heated argument, just one horn. And within minutes, a public road turns into a crime scene. Look at some of these visuals, first and foremost. These disturbing CCTV visuals are from Nagpur. A traffic policeman driving home in his private car after working hours encounters a group of bikers allegedly riding dangerously in that zigzag manner. He honks, and what follows is a little difficult to watch, so viewer discretion advised as well. The bikers, because there are about 12 to 14 of them, block the vehicle, they drag him out onto the road, surround him, assault him repeatedly, vandalize his car and leave him injured. All of this happening in full public view. Take a look at the traffic, it's still on. 14 people have now been arrested. But the question this incident has raised goes far beyond one city or one particular incident, one night. This is no longer an isolated case of road rage. Our frustration levels and how we manage them is considerably low with each passing day. Across the country, we're seeing arguments over overtaking, over honking, over parking. The slightest of brush between vehicles, it spirals very quickly into violent assaults, sometimes even murders. That's right. What is changing on our roads so drastically? Why are tempers exploding so easily? I mean, has aggression behind the wheel become the new normal? And perhaps the most uncomfortable question of all, if a trained police officer can be overpowered by a mob, of course numbers do matter, right in the middle of the street, what protection does an ordinary citizen really have? From a traffic disagreement to a violent mob assault, the sequence is shocking, but unfortunately not entirely unfamiliar anymore. The story isn't just about that policeman or one biker gang. It's about a worrying change in our behavior on the Indian roads. We've got a very credible voice with us on the broadcast, and we must ask and underscore tonight, are our roads becoming more dangerous because of traffic or because of anger that we hold within ourselves? Let's open this up. Mr. A.K. Jain, former DGP, UP, with us on the broadcast. Many thanks for taking out the time yet again, DGP Jain.
Thank you. Thank you.
Last time we were speaking about how a murder happened on the Mumbai local because people could not really sustain their anger. Frustration tolerance is so low. What do you make of this case now, sir? There's an officer who was not on duty, but let alone a transport officer, mobbed up by these 13, 14 biker gangs. And you know that, biker gangs, they're stereotypically a little aggressive. When you have mob mentality, you're roaming around in a group of 10 to 12. It seems like you're untouchable.
You are absolutely correct. Even in USA, if 20, 30 bikes, whites are driving on Harley